Good morning, everybody. Pastor Stitch, Narrow Path Christian Church, BC, Bay City, Michigan. Welcome to the Biker Devotional. Today is April 22nd, 2025, and we are looking at Proverbs chapter 22 and verse 7. Proverbs 22 verse 7 says this: "The rich rule over the poor, and the borrower is a slave to the lender." You know, this verse has been used, I've used it, to teach about the fact that we shouldn't have debt, and we need to make sure that we are no longer slaves to money and all of those things. Great way to use this verse, by the way. It is. It definitely points to that. We shouldn't be in debt. Yes, I know, can't buy a house or a car without going into debt. Yeah, I hear you. Is that true? You get to decide. But that's not what I'm going to talk about today. As I was reading this morning, the rich rule over the poor, and the borrower is a slave to the lender, I thought to myself, there are natural laws and there are spiritual laws. There are natural principles and there are spiritual principles. Spiritual principles work everywhere, all the time, never fail. They work here, they work yesterday, they work tomorrow, and they work in the kingdom of heaven, and they work in heaven. Natural laws, natural rule, natural principles work. They don't work everywhere. They work most everywhere. They're pretty significant. And when you look at the difference between a natural principle and a spiritual principle, a natural law and a spiritual law, you can see how paganism, witchcraft, all of those things can gain momentum because a natural law, a natural principle works. And it works most of the time. And if you apply it, you will produce it. And guess what? Solomon talks about all the natural and the spiritual. Jesus talks about natural and spiritual. The Old Testament talks about natural and spiritual. The difference being one works all the time. No matter where it's at, where it's applied, when it's applied, it will always work. Natural, on the other hand, only works in the natural. Inside the spiritual, it doesn't work at all, or it doesn't have to work. It can work because there are natural elements within you and I. This is one of those natural principles, natural laws that we see, but we know can't be spiritual because it doesn't apply in the kingdom. It doesn't apply in heaven. It doesn't apply in spiritual matters. The rich rule over the poor. The borrower is a slave to the lender. See, there will be no rich or poor in the kingdom. There will be no need to borrow, so you can't be a slave. This is a simple example of the world we live in is a natural world, and this is a natural rule, a natural principle. If you are poor, those with money will be able to have greater influence over your environment. Those with wealth, whether it's money or not, land, whatever, have influence over those that have not. Someone that owes someone else money is in their debt. They have to do what is necessary to pay that debt back, or there will be consequences. But it's a natural rule. It's not a bad thing. It's not. It's true. And I'm not saying one way or another. You would be more comfortable if you didn't have debt. You can honestly say that. I can honestly say that. A lot more comfortable if I didn't have debt. Wouldn't have to answer to others, right? But it's not a spiritual principle. It's a natural principle. And there are so many others in the Word of God. So my question to you, are you going to take the time, spending time reading this every day, getting to know it and know the writer or the one who inspired it all? Are you going to get to know it well enough to be able to discern which is spiritual and which is natural? There are things that you and I and the church has said for years are spiritual principles that are actually natural. But we've made it part of the spiritual law. And that's why we can be deceived. You know? In the end times, Jesus said, many will be deceived. But you can't be deceived if you spend time and you know and have a relationship with the inspiration behind the Word of God. I love y'all. Hope you have a great day. And God bless.